Hey, what's up? What's up? This is Jeff from BKJmacTV, and this is episode 4 of the BKJmac podcast experience. And this episode is about Damar Hamlin being discharged from the hospital from Cincinnati after the hard hit that he took last week on the field. This article is by Natasha Day. January 9th, 2023. Damar Hamlin is heading back to Buffalo. Basically, he's going back home. 1 week after the 24-year-old Buffalo Bills safety had to be resuscitated on the field and was transferred to the hospital in critical condition, Hamlin's doctors have announced he has officially been discharged from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Dr. William Knight IV confirmed Hamlin's release on Monday, adding that he is currently on his way to Buffalo, New York, where he will be transferred to another hospital under very capable and excellent medical care. This is the next stage of his recovery, said Knight. We continue to be ecstatic about his recovery, said Dr. Timothy Pritz, who also treated Hamlin. As he heads home, Pritz says Hamlin will continue to undergo a series of tests. Upon arrival, Hamlin's medical team in Buffalo will observe and monitor the athlete to ensure that there is no impact on the flight to his condition or on his lungs from the travel. Knight said that he and Pritz have spoken extensively with his care team in Buffalo and can confirm that he is doing well. Over the weekend, Hamlin had been walking the unit, tolerating a regular diet, meeting with his family and many members of the care team. His doctor said he walks normally. He is admittedly a little weak. I don't think that's any real surprise after what he went through, just regaining his strength, and that's part of his recovery process, says Dr. Pritz. Hamlin's doctors spoke highly of his character on Monday, sharing that he's got an amazing, genuine sense of humor. Pritz said, his family is amazing and we're happy he's with them. For the long term, doctors anticipate Hamlin would have likely undergoing needs, which may include therapy or working with different specialists. Fortunately, Knight explained that because he appears to be neurologically completely intact, at this point there is no reason to believe that he won't continue his path to recovery. Which this is big news. The fact that he's being discharged from the hospital after that devastating hit last week on the field in Cincinnati. Mr. Hamlin, when he got the hit, he fell down, he got up, and then he passed out. And quickly, he was surrounded by his team. One of the medical staff went in and performed CPR on him. 10 times CPR, 10 CPR attempts to get his heart going. They were able to transfer him to a local hospital, which was in Cincinnati, and he was in critical condition. So from being from critical condition to being released from the hospital is an amazing progress. This young man never gave up. He kept fighting. He wasn't gonna give in. His family kept praying for him. The whole world kept praying for him. We all wished that Damar would get better, and that's what he did. And he was able to come out of this by the Lord's blessing. He was able to come out of this. You know, there was I wanted to put a spotlight on this young girl, 16-year-old. She passed away. She went into cardiac arrest, and they did CPR on her. When they got her to the hospital, it was already too late. She had passed away. So I wanted to send my thoughts and prayers to that young girl and to her family. Sports injuries are very dangerous. Being hit on the field, monitoring heart conditions, pain, it's just so dangerous on the field. You never know what you're going to get on that football field, basketball court. You just never know. This actually reminded me of a story of a basketball player from the early 90s. This was coached by Paul Westhead. He recently passed away from cancer. Basically, it was this player, really good, talented player. And he had heart issues. And he was on medication to relieve the stress on his heart because he had an irregular heartbeat. But the medication was messing him up and causing him to feel drowsy. So one moment he got off the pills, but then his heart rate accelerated it, and eventually he passed out in the middle of the court. And then, but they were able to resuscitate him back to life. But then when they got him to the hospital, he passed away. So at that moment, that set me fears about Mr. Hamlin when they were able to bring him back and transfer him to a hospital in critical condition. I was praying for that he made it. And I'm so glad by the Lord's blessing that he was able to make it through. And now he's back home in Buffalo getting top tier treatment and making sure he gets a full recovery. So sports is just dangerous. The hit that he took to the chest was dangerous. And I hope the league looks into that hit, because it was just dangerous. It was uncalled for. Nobody needs to be hit in the chest like that. Let's talk about Tua from the Miami Dolphins, the quarterback. He suffered 3 concussions this season, and he's on recovery right now. The game is rough. Even though the last 20 years they've made a lot of improvements to reduce the injuries, the pain in the game, it's still tough. It's really, really tough. And to be honest, it's like, well, things need to get better. Things need to be improved. Like the concussion protocol needs to be improved. Getting hits, the tackles, roughing the passer. These things still need to be addressed. The football game needs to be a little bit cleaner. It's one of the reasons why they have a shortened season, because the brutality of football, it really does a lot of damage to the human body. So to be honest with you, the game itself just needs to be better. It needs to be cleaner. It needs to be safer for all the athletes to take part in. Going back to the article, Hamlin suffered a cardiac arrest and collapsed on the field after a hard tackle to his chest in Monday night's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He received CPR for 10 minutes and appeared to be given oxygen before he was transported to the hospital in critical condition. Basically, he was in the ICU unit fighting for his life. The Bills announced Friday that Hamlin was breathing on his own and had been able to speak to his family and care staff. On the same day, head coach Sean McDermott also said the team also got to speak to Hamlin for the first time since the incident via video call. We were able to hear him say, "I love you boys," to the team and to the people in the room, McDermott said on the Audacity WGR 550 Sports radio show, The Extra Point with Sal and Joe. McDermott said, "It was touching to see Damar number 1 through my own eyes during the call. I know that's something I've been looking forward to, kind of needing to see, I guess." Hamlin was officially put on the Bills' injured reserve list on Friday. On Saturday, Hamlin thanked fans in the NFL community for the outpouring of support he received over the week. Putting love into the world comes back 3 times as much. Thankful for everyone who has reached out and prayed, Hamlin tweeted on Saturday afternoon. "This will make me stronger on the road to recovery. Keep praying for me." And that's what we will do. We will keep praying for Hamlin until he makes a full recovery, and he has a decision to make. Does he want to return to this game, or does he retire? Hopefully we'll see what he does in the near future. But in the meantime, we pray for this young man, and we pray for his speedy recovery during this tumultuous period in his life. This could have ended badly, but the Lord prevented it, and we're glad that Mr. Hamlin is alive and he's functioning pretty well. Again, sports is dangerous. Anybody could get hurt in sports. It's really tough. So it's like when anybody engages in sports activities, it's like you got to be careful out there, because you just never know what could happen. Any minute somebody could inadvertently hit you or hurt you by accident. So anybody that plays sports out there, who engages in sports, please stay safe out there, because sports is not the end all of life. Health is number 1, most definitely, and sports is secondary, to help one stay in shape. But overall, health always number 1. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode 4 of this podcast for season 2 of this podcast experience, JMac Podcast Experience. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, always. One.